Hi guys, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood, and I'm here to review John Philip Betancourt's continuing blog series, The Return of Dark Shadows, Series 11, Chapter 9, The Human Stain. Now, this is really interesting because a lot of this, you know, what I'll say about this chapter here, and just like the previous chapter, a lot of things are being drug up from not only the last chapter I just read, but from the last series as well, series 10. And I think that's what's been done so well too throughout this entire blog. Um, John as a writer seemingly has just kept, you know, everything fresh from his previous chapters. He's always followed up with the story, which is nice. You want, anytime you read a story, you want one thing: consistency. You want a follow up. So, and that's what you get here. So, you have Victoria, who, is meeting with, Alexandra and Andrew. Well, Andrew at first, and then she meets Alexander, and they're talking in the Blue Whale, and she wants them to keep an eye on Curtis, sort of both of them, and she's wondering if they could go about doing that. Well, Alexandra, I think, has finally accepted, really, especially in this chapter, it, that she has received Angelique's powers. Sorry, my washer distracted me there for a second. I was like waiting for it to go off. But it's not. It's got time, I think. So, what you have here is, in the previous chapter, which I actually forgot to mention this in my review, so I apologize, that Alexander was going through some pains. And I think, really, it seems that was the growing pains of the powers that she was receiving. And now she has seemingly accepted those powers. And, she still is receiving some pain, but you know, she's fine with it now, seemingly, on the surface of things. And she tells Victoria that she can keep an eye on Angelique to make sure Curtis isn't getting played or isn't getting hurt or no one else gets hurt. So, and Andrew sort of gives this reassurance of, I'll protect you. No one's going to mess with you. But here's the thing. And I like a lot of this here because out of all the chapters in this, even though they have made love, Andrew and uh, Alexandra, this here lets you know Andrew ain't gonna let nothing happen to Alexandra unless someone kills him. I mean, that's what it's gonna take for someone to do something to, even if she didn't have powers. This lets you know Andrew really does honestly give a shit and love Alexandra. No one's gonna do nothing to her unless they do it to him first, and that's the thing. So no one's gonna hurt her unless they hurt him, or try to kill her unless they kill him first. But as I like what Alexander says, even though she got power, she knows, it's, you don't have to do that, but it's reassuring to her to hear that from him, that someone's got her back. So she grabs his hand and they're holding hands, and Victoria leaves. And after she leaves, she says, close your eyes and don't let go. Well, they're sort of teleported to Victoria's apartment where Curtis is. By the way, it's Curtis's more than Victoria's. But you have there an interesting, you know, I love what Andrew's reaction is priceless. Is this for real? Like, dude, you're a werewolf. The last thing you need to be asking is something for real. But I like that. That's so like that's a classic line, especially for coming from somebody who could. It's like ironic. It's like the irony of of this, all of this, but it's clever. It's ironic and clever at the same time. I like that. And she goes, "Well, sort of. But don't let go, because if you let go, we'll be back in the blue whale." Which she's right. Yeah, I know. Okay. Anyway, hold on a second, guys. I gotta do something with this lovely device here. Hold on a second. I'll be with you in like a couple seconds. But I'll try to talk as I'm doing this. I just don't want to mess it up as what I'm doing. Yes. I'll say you're okay. So what you have is them spying on Angelique, and a waitress at the Blue Whale interrupts them, and it causes them their sort of astro bodies to come back into their normal bodies and like open her eyes and smile. So she can be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. This explains how Angelique could be everywhere in no time. So there's a lot explained here of what exactly how Angelique was able to do things, and now that Alexandra is able to do those things because she was given those powers. Not by Angelique necessarily, but by someone else. And I have a feeling that someone else is going to get revealed in the next chapter. That's my opinion, by the way. By the way, well, I'll do the announcement after I end this. At the end of this. So, Victoria's walking, and yeah, I'm actually scrolling down because this is long. Um, I usually don't do this. I usually read. Well, I've already read this like twice, but I'm scrolling down because this is very, very long, which is good. You want a story to be long. Um, I like the fact that Dominique visits Victoria because for a moment I thought, just from the reader's standpoint, I was thinking, you know, is Dominique going to reach back out to Victoria here? You know, is the spirit of Dominique going to talk to her? And what is that interaction going to be? And yeah, she did. She thanked Vicky for help getting her out. Escape from Wincliffe. She talked to Vicky and thanking her for reconnecting with David, and she now had to, hope David would connect with his daughter, but she wasn't. Dominique's cards, even though she's a spirit, aren't all on the table. And you know what? Neither is India's, and that's something I'm going to touch on here too. Um, to me, there's so many good parts in this. I'm going to get to like the other stuff first, and I'm going to get back to my favorite part in all this. You have Barnabas, and I know I'm jumping, you have Barnabas and David talking, and they're arguing. And now Julia Hoffman comes to the old house too because Carolyn comes to where her and Quinn are, which I'm going to get to that here later. I know I'm jumping, but trust me, I'm gonna get back to that. They can't. Carolyn knocks on the door of the Rose Cottage and tells Julia what's been going on and tells Quinn what's been going on. And they visit, they all visit Barnabas, and David is yelling, like, how could you? Why would you? I love my wife. And what Barnabas tells him, and David believes this, and I do too, you know, David comes to the realization, yeah, Barnabas does love Soy Bahan and the family. He didn't ask for a lot of this, but a lot of what's been going on, he has caused either directly or indirectly. He has sort of been, something I've said, I made a, I did the comment section. All these characters it's the human stain, and it's a proper title because all these characters have stains, and the choices they've made have caused stains on their very souls, whether living or dead. Or other people's choices have caused stains on their souls, whether those people are alive or dead. The choices that people have made have affected everyone's life in this story, and that's the one thing that has been so consistent in this. And so, Soy Bahan choosing to, work with the paranormal investigator, in a sense, caused her to be in that other realm. Not saying she deliberately jumped into the realm of the dead, but no, that's just something that unfortunately happened to her. But from my reader standpoint, even though I think David does blame Barnabas, but in a sense, do I think David blames himself? I think he does, and he needs to too, in my opinion. So I think, again, something I touched on in my previous review, and this is my opinion. I want to stress this when I give these reviews of these character retrospectives in this review. These are my opinions. Again, they could be wrong. But for my opinion, David really needs to take ownership of what he's caused. Not just David, just everybody naysaying Barnabas, because I think everybody naysaying him in front of Soy Bahan. And you got to remember, Soy Bahan would just take it, and finally she had enough. I mean, she did. This series here especially proves that she did have enough. And I think she wanted closure, not just to bring her dad back. Yeah, I do think she wanted her dad back, but I think she herself wants answers and wants everybody to give answers to Barnabas, and Barnabas to give answers. She wants a meeting of the minds, like a family sit down without the like everyone pulling out a gun to kill everybody. But that's just my opinion. That's my perspective of it. I could be wrong. But to sort of jump back, because I don't want to jump too far ahead. In the previous series 10, John writes a past for Julia Hoffman, and it was really paid off. Paid off in this chapter here in this series, because he gives Julia Hoffman this beautiful past storyline. And in the first interview I did with him, he said, well, what was her life before Collinsport? What was it? And he painted that picture, and he did a wonderful job giving her a husband who wasn't necessarily faithful, and she thought he was cheating on her again. So she was going to kill herself, but he wrestled with her and the gun went off on him and he accidentally killed him. This all finally, because of Quinn finding the syringe in the trash, she finally confronts Julia Hoffman about the truth. Her grandmother and you have a lot of emotion in this right here because you have Julia Hoffman crying, telling her, I didn't mean to kill him. It was an accident. You know, Quinn, who's really good at telling a liar from the truth because, you know, look, she was with Jeffrey Shaw. She knew that motherfucker was lying to her. But, though, too, you know, in Shaw's defense, he wasn't always lying. And she knew that. And that's how good of a lawyer she is. So she was able to pick up that, yeah, her grandmother was telling her the truth. And they have this groundbreaking moment of just tears and just, you know, regret and sorrow. I would say they're happy they found each other, but again, there's a lot of regret, sorrow, and pain. And again, like I said, there's a lot of stain on the souls of these people for the choices that they made, or that they wish they could have, should have, could have, would have, should have. You know, and that's something that we all wrestle with in life. Not to give a deep metaphor, but you get what I'm saying. And I really love the introduction of India here. Finally, Gabriel, you know, we meet through Gabriel, we meet India. We were shown pictures of her, but we meet her here, and she does look like Elizabeth. But India has a secret of her own, and we don't know what that is yet. And I'm really curious. Even Gabriel doesn't know what it is. Am I going to take an educated guess? You know what? No, I can't, because you know, I really can't. I mean, I probably could, but I wouldn't even know where to begin with the guess. And trust me, I read through this twice, and it's just, no, there was really no really hint of what it could be. You got to remember, Gabriel has this special ability to sense good, evil, you know. Now, the big X factors here are, what is Dominique gonna do? What is Dominique's course going to be? You know, one thing I want to touch on before I go, because I don't want to forget it. You know, Serena. Serena does not want anything to do with any of the Collins family members, and I can't say I blame her. That girl should just get the fuck out of Collinsport. Like, seriously, if I was her, I'd be like, Sebastian, we're out. Like, we're leaving. Like, so, and by the way, Barnabas told David, you know, he wasn't going to get Soybahan back, but something tells me Barnabas has a plan to get her back. And listen to this. Listen, no one does hook or crook better than Barnabas Collins. If that man has to steal something from somebody, whether it's their child, someone's life, someone's child's life, he will get that girl back. Because he is one sinister motherfucker. And he is. This is true, okay? So it's really interesting to see what India's secret is, or if that's going to be revealed. I have a feeling it will be. If I'm not mistaken, I do believe John is going to drop the final chapter of Series 11 on Halloween, on October 31st. So I do believe that. And I just cannot wait to read it and review it. I've enjoyed these immensely. And by the way, he is going to come back on here on November 1st, 10 p.m. Eastern at night. I'm going to interview him. We're going to talk about this chapter here, this series 11. And I'm just so excited to talk about it with him. I've got so many character questions for him, just from my standpoint. And listen, if you guys have been... I haven't got no questions yet, guys. What are you guys doing? Don't be shy. We won't bite. And listen, John will answer your questions. So, I know I've got mine in mind. So, I hope you guys hit me up, DM me, message me. Some questions to ask John. I've got some character questions for him. I can't wait to talk about this with him. I'm just so excited. I've just enjoyed this so much, and I've said this. I'm going to go back and do a revisit about the whole damn thing. Yeah, I have a dark shadows obsession problem. Okay, the first step is admittance. All right, it's admitting you have a problem. But I love my problem. Okay. All right, guys. Have a good one. Like, share, comment, and subscribe.